Well, turning to our illegal immigration and border security crisis, the number of illegal aliens in this country is a staggering 12 to 20 million. A new report indicates why the number is so high. Now, the Associated Press has found that from October 2000 to September 2005, 98% of illegal aliens arrested crossing the border into this country were never prosecuted. Those illegal aliens were merely escorted back into Mexico, and many, of course, simply came right back in. Nearly 100 members of Congress are demanding Speaker Nancy Pelosi oppose any legislation that offers amnesty to illegal aliens. Only 2 Democrats signed the letter to the Speaker, and one of them is Congresswoman Nancy Boyda, and she joins me now from Topeka, Kansas. And thank you very much for joining us. Why did you decide to take this action?
Well, I've gone to leadership, and I'm very proud to be a Democrat, and I've just said, listen, we're going to have to part company. This whole thing on amnesty and immigration is an important issue in my district, and I think in the entire country. And on a given day, I've said, I'm not sure you understand the amount of outrage that's going on in our country by not enforcing our laws and protecting our borders.
Congresswoman Boyd, I'd like to actually read a section of this for the benefit of our viewers. In this letter, you write, amnesty encourages more illegal immigration. It tells all those who have patiently waited abroad that they are foolish. And it goes on to say, the United States has the most generous legal immigration system in the world. We should take the side of American workers and taxpayers, legal immigrants, and the rule of law. What is your chief concern?
Let me also say, Kitty,
yes,
that there was a letter that was kind of a companion letter that also went to President Bush saying, please, you know, the American people are asking you. And what we're asking for is that we provide security first. Secure the borders, protect the borders, and then find a way to enforce the laws. And when I talk to leadership, I just say there's no trust with the American people after what happened in 1986. Nobody believes that the enforcement is going to come. So show that you're going to have some enforcement, show that you're going to protect the borders, and then we'll talk about how we take care of the rest of the issue. It's a huge, massive, massive problem.
Now, this letter to President Bush talks about the employers, the crackdown on employers. We've seen a flurry of raids, very high-profile raids, and the number's not particularly large in contrast to how many illegal aliens are actually working in this country. What's your view of the efforts that are being made at this point?
Well, really, we need to start and say that our employers need a system that they can even have to verify who's here legally or not legally. Right now, that's so much of the problem. Employers don't know, there's no system, and you just have to ask, was there ever intended to be a system? You know, they've had 20 years to put it together and it's not together. Well, gee, maybe they never wanted a system. We've got to have a system that allows employers to be able to show who's here legally or not, and then take the necessary action. And that's, to me, what I've told leadership. I think that needs to be done first. And then again, to continue working on protecting the border as well. Show the American people you're serious, and then let's start talking about how we integrate everybody into the country.
Let me get your thoughts on another program. We've reported extensively on this broadcast about a pilot program to allow Mexican trucks to carry goods to all parts of the country. And last week you introduced the Save American Roads Act of 2007, which would limit the DOT's authority. What do you hope to achieve here?
Well, let me tell you how I started that. We actually introduced, or didn't introduce, but we had a bill that was ready that said we need to just stop this whole thing with the trucks coming in from Mexico. And leadership was very good and said, you know what, you're not going to get that through. That's part of NAFTA, and you're not going to renegotiate NAFTA as a freshman in Congress. And so they helped to put together what was a bill that we thought was the toughest, and would say, if you're going to do this, then make sure that you're not rushing into it. Make sure that you've met all the 22 criteria that have to be done, and let's be very careful before we rush into this. So, you know, on a given day, I think if we need to take a complete relook at NAFTA, that works for me. But until then, we're going to make sure that this pilot program is not rushed into, and we're going to keep our American roads safe.
You know, I find it intriguing. Your bill is also going to require that the DOT allow public comment on this. How might that public comment be incorporated into the final? It's a lovely concept.
My guess is there's going to be a lot of public comment on this one. And I think, again, the American people want to be part of this conversation. So, you know, I think we've taken, it's just a real good practical piece of common sense legislation. What I've been told, again, is that this piece of legislation that I put together, again, with the help of some of the leadership, Oberstar and DeFazio, have said that we can get this all the way through, and said we're going to fight to make sure that this bill actually gets through. And that's important. We don't want to just talk about it. People are sick and tired of talking about it. We want some action. We want to know that things are being taken care of.
Congresswoman Nancy Boyda, thanks for being with us tonight.
Thank you, Kitty.
A reminder now to vote in tonight's poll. Do you